It's dogs and cats sleeping together.
It's chaos. It's chaos. Oh, yeah, that's what happens. We are live. We are back. It is time for a show.
What point were you live?
Just in time for the dogs and puppies and cats kissing each other and not talking about the gay club and spinning in the back of the gay club and you know.
What? Keep your old stories out of this, Mr.
I'm just saying, this what I heard over my headphones, I'm sure. Wait. That is not Shaney, although it does kind of look like. No, it doesn't look like Shaney whatsoever.
We have a rule: whoever fills in for Shaney has to wear a wig, and we're going to make you do it. But we knew if we asked, you would, so that's good enough.
Mitch Taylor wants his money back for tonight's show.
Oh, is this better?
That
works.
That's pretty close. Tonight we've got Dan, MJ, and Bill Herman. We are going to be talking about DJ Expo. We just had that. Bill likes happy clubs. He does. He really does like happy clubs. But we're going to be talking DJ Expo. Bill and I were there last week. MJ, you were following the social media feeds, and Dan, you were teaching.
Yeah.
So he was out. He was a responsible one of us.
Teaching and taking a new job. How about that?
Yeah.
So what were you teaching, Dan?
I teach high school math, and we started school last Monday. So jumped right into it.
Before we continue, I'd like you to know, John, you told me there would be no math here.
I'm not going to make you do math.
Right. We usually just dump the math questions over to Dan. It's like, okay, so 4 plus 7, we could answer it, but we got a math guy here.
Really, we could answer it.
But we have a math guy here.
But why should we when we have an expert in the room?
We have a math guy here. And when he comes back with 12, we're like,
yeah, I'm thinking he's right.
I can make it. I have
a math guy.
2 = 5 if you really want to mess with it.
Oh, that would be so bad.
I'm in.
We got Mitch. We've got Hubcap Dude, Ian, Jimmy. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We're going to be talking a little bit about. Bill had a virgin moment last week.
It's been a while.
Yeah, he experienced something for the first time. So we're going to talk about that. Private tutoring? No, there's no private tutoring. Bill likes pie. Yes, I think Bill might like pie. I think we all like pie. Although I think German chocolate cake would be better. Another story, another time. Okay. Let's start off with MJ. What were you hearing about Expo before Bill and I jump into Dan, what were you and MJ hearing from the show this year?
I heard that it is different than any other expo.
That's what we were talking about last Monday night when we were standing. First up,
I definitely want to hit that. I want opinions from him about if he felt that every word that every single person that told him, hey, this is different than all the other expos. I want to kind of get his opinion on that. But two things I noticed this year, and one I hope we get to talk about, and the other one I'm not that, if we don't talk about that's great. But the one I want to talk about is the fact that there seems to be a whole lot of combo lights out this year. And I'm talking like you buy a light and it's a wash / go laser / gobo / whatever. And there seems to be a lot of those out. And I kind of want to see what people think of that. That's, those are really popular. So we'll see. And I don't remember what the other one was. I just blanked.
Dan, what were you picking up on social media and such from last week's show?
Some of the different social media that was coming about was mainly pertaining to the seminar rooms. I had a lot of people, it seemed like things blew up, after Steve Moody's all-star panel. Just a lot of people giving great feedback on that. I didn't quite catch why the change in rooms, unless maybe that was always supposed to be in the grand ballroom. Somebody said it was wet or something like that, like where they always used to be, the Tiara Room B or whatever it was. But so some of the seminar feedback, that I was hearing was, just again another year of great content. Couple friends of mine wandered into some of the product rooms and kind of were surprised that they were product seminars, not regular seminars. So that was an experience telling you there, but
yeah, that I've heard that there was actually a couple of thoughts we'll share with that. Bill, it was your first time of being at DJ Expo. Going into it, what was your thoughts? What were you expecting? Because again, as MJ alluded to, you were told.
I wasn't expecting anything. I've been to pretty much every DJ conference in the United States, except for maybe Miami. I haven't been to Miami yet. And I've been, a lot of my colleagues have been talking about DJ Expo for a while. In fact, I was a subscriber to DJ Times before I was a subscriber to any DJ magazine, and had heard about the Expo before I'd heard about even Mobile Beat. But it always ended up in the middle of the summer. And here in the Midwest, you make all your money between March and November.
Yeah.
And all of these people who live where it's cold because they love the snow. It's so beautiful. I love it here. They hide in their houses like hobbits until the spring and don't ever have any events. So we make all our money until in the wintertime. And then you cram a lot of events in the summer, and usually August, September, or July, August, September are probably your busiest months. So I'm never available to do Expo. And then I sit in my office preparing for my events and jealous of all my buddies on the East Coast going to Expo. So this year, it was really weird. It's such a frequent thing that I'm unavailable for Expo that when it came time to be a part of Expo this year, I knew I wasn't going. And then my wife says, "So are you going to go to this thing in Atlantic City?" And I'm like, "Well, no, I never go to that thing in Atlantic City. It's in August. I can never go." And she says, "Have you looked at your schedule lately?" Well, yeah, I look at it all the time. But when you're busy, you just kind of keep your head down and keep working. Well, it turned out that the weekend after Expo, I didn't have anything going on event-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And usually I've got 2 before and 2 afterwards. And then trying to cram it in the middle when I know I really should be working and preparing for the next event just feels odd to me. So I never do it. So she's the one who said, "You could go." And I thought for a second. And then I listened back, I rewound it, and I heard my wife say to me, "You could go." So I booked a flight in about 30 seconds. And then I went looking for hotels, which I couldn't find. And so I had to stay off property. It's a nice hotel. If you've ever been to the Convention Center Hotel, that's where the Miss America pageant contestants always stay. So I was given a gown and a crown, and it was really special.
Wow.
And then I got a pass, and I went. Now, like I said, I wasn't expecting anything about Expo at all. But as I get there, all of my friends are seeing me. "Oh my gosh, Bill, it's great to see you. Thanks for coming. This is going to be great." And then they would stop for a second and go, "Have you ever been here?" And I'm like, "It's the first time." And they go, "Oh, okay. Well, Bill, you got to know that this Expo has got a really different vibe." And they do it like that. And like about 50 to 100 people, everybody who stopped me and went, "Oh, Bill, you got to know that this conference has a really different vibe." Same look on their face, almost the same words, word for word from everybody. So I am feeling like I've stepped into
a different vibe.
It's a really different vibe. I'm like, okay. I mean, what could be so different? And I guess what they meant by that was that a lot more people come to the conference in Atlantic City, it looks like, to see the newest equipment, the newest gear, and that the gear show is huge, and it really is. That room is just huge, and they've got deals, like unbelievable deals. They're almost giving this stuff away, and people are leaving with pallets of things. The deals are so great. But there were people there for the content as well. It's just like the other ones that I've been to have been mostly content, and then they go out and find advertisers. And the DJ Time's been around so long, I think they started with, okay, well, we'll just do a big showroom floor for people to come and shop for a few days, and maybe have a few celebrities and some pictures and things like that. And I don't know how long they've been doing content. It kind of seemed like, the rooms were okay. The first day they had lots of people. They didn't fill their room with people because they were right. A lot of people came for the gear and not necessarily for the content, even though I thought the content was really good. To answer your question too about where it was and what room it was supposed to be in the first ballrooms as you came around the corner. But from what I was told, they had some kind of they had some kind of leak. They had some kind of problem with the weather the week before, and there were some problems in the room, so they didn't want to do that, so they moved everybody farther down, which I hope that's what it was, because we were literally in the farthest ballroom you could walk to in the entire facility. Even some of the people at the hotel went, "Oh, you're the DJs. Oh man, they really put you down in the end, didn't you?" So, and you're right. As you went along, you got to some of the equipment rooms before you got to the main ballroom that had some of the speakers with their content. So if you rolled into a room, the first room you saw that was doing DJ stuff, it would be, Electro Voice, it would be a Chauvet, or it would be a mic thing, or whatever it was. So I don't think that was made that way to mess with anybody. I think it's just the way it worked out.
Yeah. I think this, because of it, typically it's in a seminar room that's before those paid seminar room and the sound rooms. So there are people who have never gotten that far down. So this is one of the first years that everybody walked past the PV and the bass boss, I believe it's bass boss, and the QSC rooms. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Plus, I'm sure when they first started doing this conference at the Trump was really great to them. But then, the first thing you're hearing when you get there is they're closing the Trump down, and it's going to be closed within days. And then, and with that, it's going to be closed within days. And then you see all these little things happening. And then the staff isn't the happiest to be there, because the place is going to be closing soon.
Yeah.
When you're coming into the building, there's picketers. When you're leaving the building, there are picketers. They were yelling at us when we were leaving. At least me. Okay. Now, let me just say, I don't know it was us. They were yelling at me.
Yeah, I was going to say, they never yelled at me.
I was going in and leaving.
They were playing their drums and chanting their chants and whatever else.
Right. So it was not
literally frying pans out there.
So the DJ vibe, a really different vibe, I think, was more because the Trump was on its way down and on its way out. So that vibe was kind of sad. But I don't know that it affected the show. At least it didn't affect my experience of the show. The show, they did a nice job.
I think one of the things that I've always, when they talk about vibe, and that I as soon as you said it, I pictured in my head, although it was a little different than what I was thinking. My experience from the shows is kind of secondhand for Mobile Bee and some of these other ones, but the vibe seemed to have a little bit more of a club aspect to it than what I hear, at least from the other shows. Not necessarily. I mean, some of the seminar content, and a couple of years ago they tried to have these tracks where it's like, okay, these are our mobile tracks, these are our club tracks, as far as the seminars that they were offering. But even it just seemed like, and when Promo only had their show, which was on the same side of town, and you could go to it as one of the nights, it really kind of geared more to the ebb and flow, where there was mobile, but it was a lot heavier on the club side in an overall aspect.
Because there's more of us, that's why.
Well, and very well so.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go numbers. I have no clue on that. But compared to the other shows, I think that's the difference there.
Yeah, like John said a couple weeks ago, with it being so close to New York, Philly, DC, you get a lot of drive-ins, and so that's where you're going to get your heavy, I just want to go check things out sort of thing, the looky-loos. So
buy a bunch of stuff, film our car, drive home.
Yep.
Yeah.
Guys, let's take a little bit of a break. Yeah, let's take a quick commercial break here for our sponsors tonight, and then we'll come back and we'll talk more about some of the good and some of the bad from this year's show.
Hits USA from RPM. Our name says it all. Get the latest hits while they're the hottest. With Top Hits USA, you'll have the track for sure. Visit tophitsusa.com or call 800-521-2537 and get a free demo.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
We're back.
We are.
We are. We're back.
Oh my god.
So anyway, you did a wedding for. Come on.
Well, I
Finish.
used to give John a lot.
Okay,
of
hang on.
crap
I gotta
for
set this up before you go on. During the break, we started talking about nice things, and we were talking about that yay for Bill that Marine is supporting and sending him on the way. Then the next, it turns around and it becomes John and his big family, 42 kids, all this.
Right. Can't
Then
keep
it comes
his
into
hands off
this
his wife.
church van thing now. Okay, go ahead. Tell us. Continue, Bill.
Well, I used to give John a lot of crap about having a lot of kids. And then I did a wedding for a family with 12. I did their first daughter's wedding while the mom of the bride at the reception was holding her newest child, number 13. She had just given birth to number 13 while she's marrying off number 12. And it was lovely. And they're a lovely family. I've done 3 of their weddings. I mean, these people are going to keep me in vehicles for years if I keep doing their kids' wedding. But at that first wedding, everybody was kind of the buzz that she had just given birth to their 13th child. So when we got to the father of the bride toast, I went up to him and I introduced him. And then I said, and before I give you the mic, let me just read this thing that I got here in the mail today from the Pope that says, "You can stop already." It was awesome.
And how did the crowd respond to that?
Crowd went great. And he took the mic and he says, "Oh, I ain't done, man." See his wife go. So John's little, basketball team at his house, and it's not a big deal.
Not that. We're just good. Okay, so before the break, we were talking DJ Expo. We talked about a little bit about the experiences and such. Bill, now you were able to sit. Let's talk about the seminars and such, and kind of work our way through the different aspects of it. What did you experience? And you've been to Mobile Beat and such. What were your thoughts on the seminars?
Well, I thought they were good. Like I said, I don't know. Like you guys were saying, I think a lot of the club guys. I think a lot of the club guys are there. But then there's those club guys that can see that there is some money to be made in mobiles, and I met a lot of those people in those seminars. I was there the first day for many of them. I'll tell you, the first one was an opening up. It opened up with Mike Walter, and he did a few things with the crowd and introduced Big Daddy Sean McKee, and then Steve Moody's seminar, which was very well received. And then I was kind of in and out throughout. My problem with the seminars is never the content. It's that I end up knowing so many other people that I end up, I'll go outside for a break and then I'll get stopped for a few people and then I'll come in and out and I'll see. But there were some good speakers. There was some one-on-one content. There was some other content they brought to the table that was seemed to be way above some of the speakers' heads, but not much. I saw some speakers that were doing it for the first time, so they got a chance to speak to their colleagues for the first time, and others that had been doing it for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of old veterans, a lot more than I normally see, and those guys are very well received, and they get a lot of respect at this show. And then I see 2 or 3. I'll give you one example of a new guy, not a new guy to the industry, but the first time speaking was DJ Brian B. It was the 3rd day. He did a great seminar that I sat in on. It was the 3rd day, so when the showroom was open, he didn't get as many people up for the seminars, but he drew a pretty good crowd and had a lot of great content. Brian asked me what I thought when he was all done, and I kind of gave him the same critique, John, that you gave me the first time I spoke for you, at when you and I were doing the Midwest Disc Jockey Association conferences. The first one I did, you gave me the thing that said, you've got some great stuff there, but you probably got about 6 seminars in one. And that's what Brian came to the table with. He was so excited and kind of nervous that he wasn't going to, bring something to the table that was very useful. He brought us a lot of stuff and was like drinking from a fire hose. And you could see a lot of people kind of, sure. Wow.
Yeah.
And other guys just taking notes furiously. I think he did a really great job. He's a good speaker. And a lot of these people, had a chance to get up and do this in a place that they were well received and given good feedback. And I think you're going to see a lot of those names pop up again in the next few years. Especially these new voices.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good. There was a nice mix of the veterans, as you were talking about. I mean, you've got guys like Mike Walter, who there, Randy Bartlett. Some of them have been speaking for years and do a fabulous job, and then a nice mix of new. Probably my biggest disappointment with the seminars was 300 people. The room was set for 400, and at no time did I see the room full.
No.
And it's nothing against the attendees. The attendees are there. I like that you used the word respect there, Bill, and that was actually one word I wanted to use tonight. There's an interesting respect. At Mobile Beat, there are times I feel that there are people in the audience who are basically, oh, that guy, I wouldn't listen to him. He does. It's like there's a different respect on the East Coast when it comes to the presenters who are up there and the people who are attending. It's an interesting dichotomy there with that.
Well, that might be part of the vibe that they were talking about. It's a different vibe.
It certainly could be.
A great example is, Big Daddy Sean McKee could not. Exactly. Midwest. Okay. Big Daddy, he couldn't walk through the hall without people stopping and kissing the guy's ring. They love the guy. Yeah. Everybody. There's not many people that have met him that don't love him, but on the East Coast, they love Big Daddy McKee.
Yeah.
And the DJ of the Year competition. This competition could be rife with a whole room full of very jealous people.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about the DJ industry, and you're talking about the DJ of the Year competition. They had 13, maybe. I don't remember exactly how many they had for the finalists for that, and weren't very many. And there's a lot of guys in the room that are pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
And oftentimes when you do that sort of thing, the whole room is like, yeah, that guy. Oh, I don't like that. Hey, that guy. And every one of those people that got up there were given the respect of, hey, they're up there competing with their colleagues. They're all getting the same respect from the group and the room. They all got into it. They all gave them everything they could so they could do things. So that was really interesting and fun to see.
Yeah.
And then the final respect was the fact that Mike Walter, he retired. He's done 15 years as the host of the DJ of the Year competition in Atlantic City, and he publicly retired on stage. And was given an unbelievable response and a round of applause. Several people were like, you could visibly upset that he was doing it, but at the same time, they came around and, with I love you anyway. I don't want you to. It was mostly visibly upset. And then Big Daddy got up at the end of the night and did this thing to bring him up on stage, and everyone stayed after the winner was announced so they could really get things excited and bring this huge energy to the room as a respect to Michael and his team and the 15 years they put in. It was really something to see.
Yeah, that is, again, that respect, and I don't think we see that in Mobile Beat.
No, in the Mobile Beat, I've seen him try a couple of times.
Yeah,
to do some sort of an award thing out on the West Coast in Las Vegas, and both times it usually gets marred with this jealousy.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. It's the only thing I can come up with is the reason that it doesn't end up being great and wonderful and a great way to really celebrate what we do for a living is that jealousy that showed up at those few times they tried to do it at the Mobile Beat show, and then it just kind of stopped.
Yeah,
because everybody went, well, it was this and that guy, and I don't like this, and that guy was awful, and that's not been the case. At least if it has been the case in the last 15 years, I didn't hear about it, and it certainly wasn't then when I got a chance to finally see it and to be able to say goodbye to Mike Walter as the host of that that program, even though he's not retiring at all.
Yeah.
He's just retiring as the host.
Exactly. Yeah. He'll be around. He's got a lot of other projects that he's got in the works out there.
Yeah, and that guy, he sucks. Come on.
Yeah, exactly. He's just, you know,
Come on.
he had that one
Not that
viral
guy.
video, and he's been riding the coattails of that
Yeah.
for the last 10 years.
No, I'm saying, man.
So, what was your thoughts, Bill, of the exhibit hall?
It was loud. It was really loud.
So
and
accurate.
shiny stuff. It was loud and fun and shiny, and I wanted to take everything home with me. It was, everybody did a good job with their booths. I was probably most impressed with, the Chavez booth was pretty impressive. The Octavoice booth was pretty impressive. The Denon and Pioneer booths that were showing off the controllers, those were really impressive.
Right.
Even a guy like me who hasn't really been a mixed club jock since the late 90s. I still have done it. I can still do it. I just haven't done it in a while. Was really drawn into the new equipment and the new things they had, and especially the controllers, really easy to use. And the booths were inviting and they were fun, and even in the smaller booths, there was lots of cool, interesting things, and very inviting. And like I said, when it comes to great deals, man, there was no shortage of great deals at this show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that it definitely is. I mean, this is, as we've talked before, is a flea market type show. People are coming in for the day, and
flea market in the fact that there's a lot of stuff. There wasn't anything in there that I would have considered. They didn't have like a bunch of
garbage stuff.
Stuff either.
Yeah, no, it was
all great equipment and very, very knowledgeable salespeople. In fact, especially the big guys in there, they weren't really in there to sell as much as just to show you what they had and what it really could do with it. And if you're really not interested, I mean, go over there to that booth and buy it, or order it from this distributor from your neck of the woods. They, especially the ones that I just mentioned, they were very, very good about that. I didn't really, there was nothing pushy about any of the booths at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think one of the cool things about Expo, and MJ, you've experienced this, is we get to go and have hands-on, which is so, I mean, yes, there's in Mobile Beat in Vegas, but in Vegas, we're not going to get to try, 3 or 4 different controllers. Well, no, actually, I think there were 8 controllers there from the In Music Company between Denon and Newmark. We don't get that out in Las Vegas.
That was cool as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get to touch a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we get to see some
I don't always feel like that at the other shows.
No.
They don't always have them out, and if they do, they've got somebody on it already.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can look at it, but here's the guy who really knows to use it. They were really letting us get in and play with everything that they had, which is, I'm not really necessarily used to that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially anybody who knows me. Oh, here comes Bill. Put somebody on that quick. Don't let them touch it.
Yeah, don't let him touch it. He'll break it.
The best part, probably because they didn't know I was the first time there, and not all the people knew me. Let that guy play with it. Maybe he'll break it.
Exactly. He looks like he might have $1 in his pocket. Let him.
Maybe.
Let him play.
Yeah, that's another thing. My first day there, I figure I'm going to see you. Maybe we'll videotape a couple things. And I know the guys at EV, and I promised them I go to the EV, the 1 hour EV thing in their room, and so I dressed up. I wore my pinstripe, my white shirt, my red tie, and I wasn't there in the main room 10 minutes when Walter comes up to me, Mike Walter, and he looks at me and says, dressed up, I see. Yeah, nice tie. You can tell who you're voting for. And I'm like, what? Why is he yanking my chain? I start looking around. I'm like one of like 7 guys that dressed up. And I start to feel a little stupid. So I untied my tie and, just kind of sat around looking like everybody's dad the rest of the day. Kid, you really better have another job if you're going to continue to do this,
Dad, come on, man. I really want to DJ, and I'm really good at it.
Well, be sure you get insurance. You need health insurance. Come on, get a real job. What's wrong with you? Yeah, I think that's how most of them saw me the first day in my suit.
Pretty much, but we didn't want to say anything. But
yeah, well.
Yeah, the exhibit hall this year. It's funny you mentioned how loud it was. I actually thought it was less loud. Not that it wasn't Mobile Beat loud, but it wasn't as loud as last year. And they were talking that Vinny and some of the guys, and part of it was because Electro Voice was contained. That helped. If you could take DAS audio out of that room, it was actually in a workable, functional room. Mm-hmm. But DAS audio, oh my goodness, great. So during setup now, so I'm basically, when I was doing one of my walkthrough videos, and maybe it's even on a 360 video, you guys can go check it out. I'm walking past DAS, and it's quiet. We're going through. They crank it up, and they're going in it. It's like, oh, thanks. So I turn and try to walk down one of the side halls to get away, or the aisle to get away from them a little bit, and so it's like, well, I'm just gonna get past some guy, because there's, again, it's setup time. So there's people over there with trusses and putting truss up in the air with the forklifts, and a guy gets in his face and it's like, we need to be able to talk. We're over here doing it, and someone could get killed. And I mean, he's got a legitimate beef. It's so loud, and they're only, maybe 80, 60, 70, 80 feet away, whatever they were, but it was that loud that you could not hear for me to be yelling to someone 3 feet away. They were that loud because they just, oh.
Well, it's a show that sells sound equipment. I've been to other shows, and they're not turning up their power tools at a power, you know what I'm saying, at another show. It's not like they're getting really loud. This is a show that sells audio equipment, so you should expect it's going to be somewhat loud. So, but so I guess I didn't say it was loud as a way to say it was bad. And I'll tell you, because Electro Voice was contained, and they did a really interestingly good job of doing that. Mm-hmm. You were able to go inside of their area, which was farther into the room than you might think, and really get a good idea of what their speakers did without having them freak out everybody around them. I don't know if they did it on purpose or if containing it really helped to sell it a little better. I think it might be the latter. But I guess it was loud in a bad way. It was just loud. Mm-hmm. That's what a DJ show or a sound show. I mean, I haven't been to NAMM, but I bet you NAMM is loud too.
It's got its parts. Some of it is loud.
Right.
Not as loud. DJ Expo holds the record.
The word I like to use for DJ Expo when it comes to loud is abusive. So,
well, and I think one of the things, we talk about, obviously there's sound equipment, and so it's going to be loud, but John mentioned a specific company, and I can recall every year there's at least one or two almost feel like they have to compete. It's not like they're trying to show you what they can do. Like, I want to show you how this sounds. It's just like, I want to blare you so you look my way, because you're not going to look at me otherwise. I think it was interesting. You said Eevee was contained. And I saw the little box in one of the walkthrough videos, and I thought that was kind of cool that they did that, because last year they were on the floor, but all they did was they set them up. They weren't plugged in. They weren't running them. If you wanted to hear Eevee last year, you had to go to their side room up by the seminars. So I wonder if maybe they felt that there was no comeback quite the same, that they brought it back to the floor. But I wish they all would do something like that.
Yeah. It would be nice. But then on the flip side, this year PV went to one of those rooms. Last year they were in really what you were missing is you didn't have Yamaha, but now John from Yamaha last year, when he was playing, he was up and down because he was showing off the DXS 18 sub, I believe, at this show. So he was up and down. You didn't have Carbon
last year.
Carbon audio was really, really loud last year. And the guys from PV, in the PV booth, they had some DJs who came in there and they were mixing. They had some PV speakers in the lower room, but they had them upstairs so they could really do what they needed to do.
DJs be deaf.
It was so incredibly loud. So it was a little bit nicer. The biggest thing that was negative about that was Tuesday with no air conditioning.
Oh my God.
No air conditioning.
There was so little of air. The places where the most of the people were had the least amount of air conditioning. In the room where they're having the seminars, felt like the air conditioning was off.
Yeah.
Go downstairs to where all the speakers were, felt like the air conditioning was off. Walk into the hallways, man, it's awesome. Going to the casino, it's awesome. Go anywhere where there's not a slot machine, and it's
nasty. Yeah.
Hot. It's like hot. It's like Africa hot. It's hot. It was hot. And it was hot.
How hot was it?
Oh,
it was
yeah.
hot out there too. You go out. I went out on the boardwalk thinking I was going to see, the boardwalk. I'd never been to Atlantic City, so my idea of Atlantic City is what you see in movies, right? Beautiful ladies in their dresses and their parasols, and the kids running up and down with cotton candy and all. You go outside, it smells like urine and sadness. It was awful. It was awful, man. I ruined everything for me. It was just,
And that was on the good side of the hotel. Think about what's on that one block off.
Go to the parking garage.
Oh God, it was there. Yeah, I was there too.
Yeah, he drove. He had a car there, so yeah, he got to experience it.
The steps in the parking garage are a special planet of their own.
Well, you don't slip because they're extra sticky.
Yes. Next topic.
Oh, that's
and it doesn't speak poorly of the show. It does speak poorly of Atlantic City, at least my experience of Atlantic City, and I wanted it to be great. And all my friends from Atlantic City, I hope that I'm out there in a time when you can really show it off and show how wonderful it is, because I'm sure it is. But my experience of the town was awful.
Yeah.
Shouldn't have been, man. And the experience of this hotel was terrible. Okay, it's being closed down. There's not any employees there that care one whit that I am there. They are ready to throw stuff at me for even saying boo to them. And the people that are picketing outside, they're mad too. I even said to one lady when I went to a bar later in the evening. I wanted to buy a glass of scotch. It took me 40 minutes to get the bartender to come over to me. I'm like one of 4 people at the bar. And when she finally gave me a drink, I thank her. And I said, hey, all those people outside picketing the hotel, are you standing in solidarity with your brothers and sisters? She goes, hell no, I hope they all lose their jobs. Like, this is the most negative experience of a place I've ever gone to. And it shouldn't have been that negative. And, the people in the show, awesome. The show itself, awesome. Everybody that was around and created this thing for all the DJs did a beautiful job. They had to do it, though, in this place where everybody was really negative and nobody was happy to work there. Yeah. And there weren't even fun gamblers there. The gamblers that were there, they were the hardcore, get away from me. I got a quarter in the machine, leave me alone. It wasn't like, a bunch of girls out for the evening going, yay!
Yeah.
Didn't even have that. Nothing. I'm looking for that at that point. So it was sad. The hotel. No, well.
Smelled of urine and desperation.
Really?
That shall be the title of the show.
Oh my gosh. I hope my friends in Atlantic City are not taking this as a affront of the work that they did in this show. The show, DJ Times, everything they did was really awesome. I wish I would have liked to take everything they did and put it in any other part of town, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The hotel wasn't helping them.
Was there any grumblings of where they're going to go next year?
I didn't hear any rumblings. No,
not a bit.
I think that a couple of times I was like, it sounded like some of them were kind of hoping Trump Plaza was hoping it really wasn't closing, because they've had, they wouldn't have to do a lot of changes to keep it there. The few rumblings I guess I did hear were not about like where they were going, is that they weren't going to leave Atlantic City, that they were going to stick to Atlantic City. Now, I know they used to do it at the convention center, and I wouldn't be surprised if they took it to the convention center for 1 year while they tried to regroup, because once again, keeping it at one place, and any show you do, John will tell you too, you keep a show at a place you've been doing it every year, there's not a whole lot of meetings you have to do for the next year. Yeah. This is what we do. This is what's worked. Yeah, we're going to do it here again. Yeah, we'll do that again. We want to have that. We want to have the same deals. We don't have to have a lot of meetings. You guys have our file. You can do this again. Whereas if they move away, they may still have the files still at the convention center. So they'll, once again, not a lot of work necessary. All the parking they need. The hotel is the one that I stayed at, which was really nice. That was the convention center hotel, right, where the Miss America pageant girls always stay.
And you got your tiara on your.
Yeah, they gave me a tiara and a gown for every evening, nice, which was really nice.
That's really pretty.
And but I'm sure if they're gonna think about it again, they're gonna go on. But I didn't have a chance to talk to Vinny Testa, and from what I understand, Vinny doesn't usually come to these things, but I saw him. Mm-hmm. He was there. It's like, that's Vinny Testa. Awesome.
See, and I didn't. Somebody pointed him. I'm sure he's been there before when I've been there, but I've never met him.
A couple of people said, "Yeah, I can't believe he's here. He never comes to this." Now that might not be true, but I got a chance to see him. I tried to go over and talk to him, but he had a bunch of people around him,
Yeah, he had security. especially
get out of
from Minnesota hoodlums.
Who's the extra white guy?
Yeah.
Go get a tan, then come back.
You going on the beach there? You get out there.
Yeah, he didn't come off the beach. So I wish I could tell you there were specific rumblings. The only specific thing I heard was they might go back to the convention center, but that wasn't from anybody who would know.
Yeah, it's just speculation in the hallway.
That's something they've been talking about for the past at least 2 years. That once Showboat kind of closed, and then last year when there was talk of Trump closing at that point too. The convention center keeps coming back up, and I think, like you said, just because that's where it was before, that's why people are like, "Oh, that's got to be where we go back to."
Mm-hmm. Right. And there were even some people that were like, "Oh yeah, the Trump is closing. Yeah, yeah." They said that last year. This is not going to close.
There was that. This one was actually written up in the paper. The other one is just a rumor in the hallways.
But this one seems a little more real.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it has strikers outside.
They normally take like 8 months to announce the next year's show. I don't know why. Like all the other expos, they tend to get it out really quickly when it's going to be and stuff like that. But the expo always waits like 6 or 8 months before they announce. And now that they're moving somewhere, is it going to take them longer this year?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's a great question.
July before, it was like what, April, May last year when we found out?
Yeah, it was very late.
April, May this year. I mean, sorry.
Yeah, it was very late.
Their audience is driving in though, like you said. Mobile Beat's in the middle of the desert, so everybody's flying in. Everybody's driving much farther in than they do on the coast. So
destination
it doesn't bug them too much when it comes to attendance to wait for a while. Yeah. Like, we're gonna do it. We'll tell you when. We'll let you know where it's gonna be.
Seemed like they always did it right after. They always made the announcement right after Mobile Beat, with the exception of this year. And I think maybe because of all the uncertainty, maybe even the hotel not knowing if they were going to make it to Labor Day or not.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. Mm-hmm. Might have been.
Yeah. Cool. Any last thoughts, gentlemen? Otherwise, we should wrap it up.
Well, I guess the only extra thought I would have would be, I think DJ Expo is an important show. I think it needs to continue. I would hate for it to, if they're, because they're having a problem, have to move out from a hotel, for them to not do it again, I think would be a mistake. I think it's an important thing to have. I think that you need to have something out there on the other coast. I think they do a good job, and I think they are. If they keep, I don't know. I haven't been every year, so I don't know about their mobile DJ conference content each year, but I can't believe it hasn't been growing, and it'll continue to grow, and they have to have a home for it. And to split this into two conferences, I think would be a bad mistake. It would be a mistake.
Yeah.
And keep DJ Times Conference, keep it out there on the East Coast, keep it around the time they're going to do it, and keep building that place where those mobile DJs can go to find their content.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, the club guys, because that's where the mobile guys are coming from. Mobile guys are not just showing up one day and saying, I want to DJ and become a mobile guy. Most of those guys are starting into clubs. Mm-hmm. So that bridge, it's a bridge that DJ Times has created for the business of mobile clubs, mobile DJs is they're coming out of the clubs, they're coming out of the bars, they're coming out of the bedrooms.
Yeah, 90% of the people I know who are club DJs do a strong, percentage of their stuff is mobile also.
Right.
I know a lot of guys that they'll do two on Friday, 2 on Saturday, where they'll go do a mobile event and then DJ late at a club. So
right.
You have a lot of that, like you said, the cross genreing. If I don't know if that's the right word or not, but yeah.
Sure, I'll go with that.
Yeah.
So I've got a question for you from those of you that went onto the showroom floor. What was Event Start? They had like this huge booth that was right beside Pioneer when you first went in, and nobody could tell me what they were the whole time. That was another thing. Like every time I kept seeing the things, they had somebody up high DJing and like some girl down dancing. And
the first booth when you went in there.
Yeah.
What something? A
lighting company of some sort.
I'm gonna be.
Was it okay? I didn't know if it was lighting. I didn't know if it was, Event Start, like an online planner type of thing.
I could be very honest. And when I came in and saw that booth, I wasn't really looking at the lights. I wasn't the trussing was not the first thing I was looking at when I walked in there.
Because it was right next to the controllers.
I didn't really hear the speakers.
He said Event Start is a rental company.
Is it?
Oh.
All right.
What? So
Again, I don't think I was looking at what they were renting. I'm just.
Oh, where are they renting?
I don't know. That's not what was catching my eye.
Did you get a price tag, or I mean, what's the deal? They have little.
Well, you know,
Is there a website we can check out? Did you get anything?
yeah, no, I think they handed me a flyer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, they were trying to hand something out, or
like, here, have a flyer. Thank you. Here's a flyer.
At least they said hi to you.
They did. The girlie said hello.
yeah.
Now I want to ask a question here real quick. It appeared to me from the pictures that the booths were more open this year instead of being very, blocked off. Did it seem that way, or was it just in the pictures?
I thought in the center there were a lot of open booths. Yeah, I don't know that they were more or less than the year before because it's the first time I've been there.
Yeah.
But it was a very open concept in the center of the room.
Okay.
Everything you could walk from in the center of the room. You wouldn't have to walk through walls to be in at least 5 to 8 booths. Very open in the center, and then there were other places where there were walls, but even some kind of going down the hallways, they didn't really put too many dividers between those people. So if in the past they put them in boxes, then yeah, it was more open. But I haven't been there in the past, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I think it was very similar to what it was last year, MJ. The biggest difference was the EV. And the way EV did that actually is this was a sound deadening wall that they put up. It was about 8 foot all the way around. If you guys go to...
I think it's taller than that. I think it was more like 14 feet. It was really...
yeah, I remember. You can go to the Disc Jockey News Facebook page and look at the photos, and you can scroll through and you'll see it's kind
like
of a red...
24 feet.
We did a 360 photo. Yeah,
it was like 30 feet.
Yeah, it was sticking up through the ceiling. And they had the
small
air show.
They assembled a small castle in
the airplanes had to fly around it as they were going, but
a little lady in a dress at top, you could throw a monkey was throwing barrels at it. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But yeah, the wall was a 1x3, and it had a kind of a fibrous paneling on the inside. So again, for sound deadening, and then it had the 1x3 that basically would help absorb the shock, and then it had the outer skin, which was a custom printed skin on the outside. It was just designed for sound deadening, so they could do what they needed to do. It was really actually kind of cool, the tech side of it, but
sounds like a floating wall. Yeah,
the floating wall. But it
was cool.
It was good, very good.
That's why when Best Buy and all those just have their own little rooms that you had to go into and you could listen to really compare and contrast and not be bothered by everything outside. So good on them.
Yeah, it worked well. It really worked well. Cool. Bill, thank you for being on tonight.
Well, thanks for asking me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
It was good to have.
This has been a pleasure getting to know you better.
Yeah, because we never get to talk.
Sorry.
We never talk. Dan,
yeah,
MJ?
I figure if I do a show other than mine, maybe somebody will watch it.
They might. There's 15 people.
I think our viewership went down tonight.
Yeah. All of my shows, they don't. My show, I get a good 300 listeners like every couple of months. You guys can like get people to watch.
Sometimes. Yes, for those of you who do not know, Bill, you should know.
Tonight show's one of the ones that get the least watchers on. Oh, Christ, that Bill Herman guy.
Bill, and you can see episodes of the Bill and Jason show. They release every Thursday. You can go check that out at DJN TV. We've got a link there, and the guys are up there talking about all sorts of intelligent things every week.
Wow, that's a nice thing you ever said.
Yeah. And I didn't get struck by lightning either.
There's two other guys that disagree with you, but that's cool.
Well, gang, thank you for watching tonight. If you are watching it and you like the show, give us a thumbs up, please. We certainly appreciate that. If you're out on Facebook and you're watching it, give us a like on that. And if you don't like it, hey, go ahead, click thumbs down. We really don't care because it's interaction and YouTube loves interaction. So, hey, click to fit your desires. We'll do that. We'll be back again tomorrow night at 9:00 Central with the...
Who's on tomorrow?
Brian Red. It's Brian Red night.
I've never heard of him. Is he good?
Yeah, well, sometimes he's good, but basically it's kind of like when you and I do a show, I got to carry him. So...
Now he's just swinging that pendulum from compliments to insults.
Why do we do this for him? He doesn't pay us enough.
I do it.
Wait a minute. Does he pay you people?
In friendship, he pays in friendship.
Oh, that's
exactly.
Right.
I pay in cookies, cookies with frosting. I licked the frosting
I
off.
didn't get any cookies.
Yeah, I
You
licked the
mixed it
frosting
some
off.
over
And
and
in your
baby-
case, Dan, I ate the cookies, but the thought was there. Come on, it's the thought that counts.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Juan, you can rewind and catch us because we were talking about you in the beginning of the show.
Yes.
Your
Never liked them.
ability to wear wigs, and Bill just wouldn't pull it off.
Yeah,
so.
Bill couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Just Comcast. Yeah, but he's looking good. He's looking good. We'll catch you again tomorrow night, and we'll be back again with our regular Monday shows next week. We're here. I think we're doing regular shows now until we get to Wedding MBA. Goodness, that's coming up here. Time flies. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.
Peace.